Hi, everybody. Hello. Thanks for being here. First, I want to thank Composers Now Impact for making this happen. This is a beautiful opportunity to get to talk about my music, and I've been really enjoying hearing other people talk about theirs. Okay, the thing I want to jump right into is called "What It All Could Be." This is my first foray into the realm of the visual. It's basically a music art film. It's in progress. It'll be about 75 minutes long. It features my tentet with a bunch of really great musicians who I play with in a lot of different situations. I was on the island of Vinyl Haven. Sounds like a used record store, but it's actually an island on the coast of Maine in the Penobscot Bay. I was there during the pandemic for a couple months while live music and a lot of things had shut down in Brooklyn, New York, where I usually live. So I was on this island and I had a camera and I just started shooting footage. And the footage really, it was nostalgic in a way. It took me back to my childhood and my roots on Bainbridge Island, Washington, near Seattle, and in the area of Cascadia, where the mountains, the forest, the Pacific Ocean, the desert to the east of the mountains, another of the sun, nature. I was really in touch with nature a lot in that early part of my life. And as I've thought about my artistic work over the years, I really feel the kind of the fundamental aesthetic impulses that I have. They go back to my feelings experiencing the seemingly infinite fantasticness, mind-blowingness, beauty, space, and all kinds of things associated with planet Earth, our natural world, our habitat, and being in space and time. So I'll play a couple excerpts here. This is What It All Could Be. Okay, the next thing I'm going to play, I'm going to jump from a current work in progress to my second CD, which I did. Man, I think it came out in 2003. The CD's called A Momentary Lapse. It was music for sextet. And again, a bunch of great musicians, and this is actually, I'm going to play a bit of two pieces that I crunched together in the recording. The first one is called Some Powerful Women, and the second one is called Why. When I started composing in the 80s, there weren't many drummer composers. I was aware of Max Roach and Jerry Hemingway. That was about it. Or I knew their music. I was aware of Bobby Previtt. I didn't really know his music. But, Joe Chambers, of course. But for me, it was really a new thing to compose. And I mean, I can remember the first time I wrote notes on paper and handed it to saxophone players. And I felt like such an imposter and really didn't have many role models. But I quickly found that actually as a drummer, I had some advantages, I would say. I was really not burdened by a lot of theory about pitches, harmonies, form, any of that stuff. It was never expected of me to know that stuff. Yet I'd been listening to all kinds of stuff, jazz related stuff and kind of stuff near jazz since I was about 13 years old. So I had really big ears, and we had a piano in my house growing up. So it was really important for me to, like, I'd come home from something I'd heard, and I'd listen to records, and I'd put my hands on the piano and dink around, as I always used to say. I'd dink around on the piano. And what I didn't realize was this dinking around was I was exploring ideas, harmonies. I was exploring the piano, and I was developing a relationship with the piano, which is probably even more important. I developed my own relationship with the piano, and I was able to channel that into composition at a certain point. And even more recently, I performed on the piano for the first time with the group The Forest at Lincoln Center. Woohoo! I played piano at Lincoln Center, I can say, and at Roulette and some other places. But anyway, this piece, Some Powerful Women, Why, really has a lot of my kind of compositional ideas from a couple of realms that aren't always represented in my music. So here it is. Enjoy. I wrote Polish theater posters by singing into a Sony Walkman and transcribing it and arranging it for a band when I was living in Seattle. We recorded it in Seattle in the late 90s. It's on the album Polish Theater Posters. Actually, I composed it when I was living in Connecticut around 1990. This is really typical of a lot of my small ensemble band writing in that it uses... it's a very drummer approach to writing. I use rhythm in a lot of different ways. It's influenced by my study of South Indian music, a brief study, but very fruitful. Okay, this next piece is called Druminations for Edward Blackwell, and it's by The Forest, which is a percussion group I started in 2021. It's from our CD called Druminations that's being released on June 16th. And that same day, June 16th, we're doing a CD release performance that's also Warren Smith's autobiography book release, and we're celebrating Warren Smith's 90th birthday. It's going to be fabulous. Both Warren Smith and J.D. Perrin are guests on our CD, and they'll be playing with us on the 16th. The composition, Druminations for Edward Blackwell, is an extended suite that I wrote based on music from the Moo sessions that Ed Blackwell and Don Cherry recorded in Paris in 1969. Ed Blackwell was my mentor for most of a decade, and his music and his personality, of course, as my mentor, are near and dear to me. So I drew on a lot of memories and sonic images and put together something that I could throw to the Forest Percussion Ensemble, and this is part of the result. The next one is called Spirit Space 1 for Dizzy Gillespie. It was recorded and performed at Edgefest in Ann Arbor, Michigan, hence my hat, on October 21st, 2017, a date which happened to be Dizzy Gillespie's 100th birthday. This is a large ensemble, site-specific piece. It goes to some of my interest back to the Northwest, the landscape and nature, which dovetails with my interest in site-specific stuff, sites, space, performance installations, and I'll mention Robert Smithson, Grotowski, and non-oral aspects of musical performance, which is goes throughout my work too. I could do a whole nother video about that. Anyway, here's Spirit Space 1 for Dizzy Gillespie. The next composition is a sort of collage that I did for choreographer Sherry Cohen in Seattle for a piece called Love of the New Gun. And it's inspired by Arshile Gorky paintings that Sherry and I looked at for a long time and talked about. I should probably say a little how Love of the New Gun was made. This was all solo digital collage. So what I did was I took a lot of field recordings and I made my own percussion samples, put them in Pro Tools, and then I didn't do any processing, but other than some things I played backwards, like there's a long sound of a train that I recorded near my house in Green Bay, Wisconsin for a little while. There's some other sounds. There's a lot of field recordings of chickens from the Oneida Nation. And let's see. Anyway, I took door creaks, little samples of percussion instruments, and I took a lot of these sounds, and just each one I would shape. Like I might take the attack off of a recording of me striking a terracotta flower pot with a chopstick. I'd take the attack off that and maybe fade it out, and then I would also pan the sound. So in the 2 seconds of that particular sound, it might go across from left to right. This was because what I was doing was this was for a dance piece with a number of dancers. So I was working spatially, trying to saturate the space three-dimensionally with sound. I wanted to create this very enveloping sound for the audience and for the dancers. So that's what it was. It was very labor. This was very labor intensive.
Bye.